From 1929 hours, consider me as retired. MS Dhoni announcing his retirement in a way only and only he could. Hello and welcome. You're watching the special edition with me, Aarti Subramaniam. We're here to discuss the man, the legend, MS Dhoni. Joining us for this very special discussion, former Indian cricketers Hemang, Badani, Deep Das Gupta, Atul Wassan and Rohan Gavaskar. Gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us on this special tribute to the man who's changed Indian cricket forever. Rohan, if I can start with you. Now, MS Dhoni is a man who's known to chart his own course. He doesn't really care what people around him say. And this retirement, though it's not really a surprise, everybody saw it coming. It's no bolt from the blue. But nevertheless, it broke so many hearts and it was done in a manner that, again, only Dhoni could have done.
Yeah, absolutely. But like you said, Aarti, everyone sort of had an inkling that he would be retiring and that he had in fact played his last international match for India. Everyone had an inkling that that was going to be the case. But you're right, it still broke a lot of hearts, as is extremely evident on social media. You saw, people, fans saying, "Listen, why?" But it was bound to happen. And again, like you rightly said, he's done it in his own characteristic way. Just a simple announcement on Instagram saying, "Consider me retired from 1929," and that was it.
You've shared the dressing room with him. You opened part of the CSK squad. Give us an insight into Dhoni, because he's somebody who's unflappable. He always has been. Captain Cool is his nickname. Have you ever seen him lose his temper? Tell us something about Dhoni which we would never have known otherwise.
Well, Aarti, I haven't really seen him lose his cool. I've never really seen him get flustered. Probably the one time is what happened last year. I think it was the game against Rajasthan where he walked into the field. But otherwise, I have never seen him get angry, get wild, lose his temper. That's something which is his forte. He's always been somebody who's held himself very well, managed his emotions very well, has a great temperament. And you know what, Aarti, ironically, I'm going to bring this up now because today was the day on the 16th of August in 2004. Rohan also was on that tour. He announced himself to the national selectors. He got a 120 against Pakistan on that A tour on this very, very given day. And this is when his journey started. The 120 was the first game against Pakistan. Again, a couple of days later, another 100 against Pakistan. But 16th of August, he let the world know, he let the national selectors know, MS Dhoni is in the house.
Well, MS Dhoni is not just in the house, he's left the house in a style in which only he could have done. Atul Wassan, I'm sure, like Rohan was saying, everybody's seen this coming, but still we've all been very heartbroken by this announcement. But Dhoni has been somebody who, I think since 2016 onwards, he's been dogged by these claims of when are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? In so many press conferences, he's faced this question. Wherever he goes, that question is just hovering around him somewhere. But much like he did in mid-series announcing his test series retirement, he did it in a manner which was not dictated by anybody else around him. He wasn't looking for a last hurrah. He wasn't looking for a farewell match organized specially for him.
Yeah, always Mahendra Singh Dhoni has always been a zara hatke. Shuru se hi, since the beginning, he's not been the one to walk on the trodden path. I remember that what Hemang Badani is saying. I was commentating that game in Nairobi, and I still remember what Sandeep Patil. He was the coach. He says, "Ye hamara thoda character hai hamari team mein, ek naya ladka hai," and he was not even the first choice for that tour in Nairobi. He was the second wicket keeper, and he got his chance, and and the rest is history. But Indian cricket history will never be complete without a mention of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He has always done things in his own way, and it's so pleasing to see him become his own man, and who has won all the 3 ICC champions as a captain. So it shows that he was a born manager. He had the management skills which you can't teach anybody. You can't go to college, or you can be playing in a team for years and years, and you still can't be a good leader. But Mahendra Singh Dhoni took to captaincy like fish to water. And then we saw the 2007, and then always believe in the butterfly effect. These little flapping of wings. Once one thing happened in South Africa in 2007, and then again in 2011, and then the man actually took cricket forward. And I think he should be lucky also that the cricketing system was in such easy way that they accepted people like Sehwag and Dhoni, who were not very you can say in the purest form of the game, very stylish. But the game saw that what they had. Sehwag had that timing and that power. Mahendra Singh Dhoni had brute power, and he was probably the best wicketkeeper in all formats of the game. In not being very, very, he never looked very, very sharp or very articulate or very fancy, but he always got the job done, and that was his beauty.
Actually, let me take the keeping skills of MS Dhoni to Deep Das Gupta, as a former keeper himself. Now, Deep Das Gupta, at the age of 39, Dhoni still shows the kind of reflexes that would put an 18-year-old to shame. And not just that, his cricketing instinct, just standing behind the stumps over there, he instinctively knows. It's almost called the Dhoni review system now, because he never gets it wrong. He's just always on point. His reflexes as a skipper, as a keeper, despite all the years, have never really been blunted at all.
And he's been able to kind of redefine what keeping technique is all about. One of the biggest myths is, as you mentioned, keeping and reflexes. Reflexes has got nothing to do, exclusively for keepers. To play any sport, you need certain kind of reflexes. But these are the myths that he's broken. And I think that's what he brings to the table, what he's brought to the table, whether it's batting or wicket keeping. He's shown the world that you can do it in your own way. You don't really have to conform with so-called the orthodox way. You can have your own way, but get your fundamentals right. And as far as the keeper, listen, he's developed over a period of time. When he first came in, when we first saw him way back in 2002, 2003, in a first-class game, Rohan was there as well. He was obviously, has always been a better batsman than a wicket-keeper. But over a period of time, he's become extremely good in wicket-keeping without changing his own style of keeping, right? He's got that, his own style was the fundamental or the foundation that he had, and he built over it and on it. So I think as a wicket-keeper, he's forced everyone to rethink and relook at wicket-keeping and wicket-keeping technique.
Well, I want to take this to both Hemang and Rohan, because I've come across a very old picture. This is from the India A tour to Kenya, where both of you are along with a very young-looking Dhoni, and both of you gentlemen are looking rather young and strapping yourselves. Hemang, do you remember anything particularly from that tour to Kenya? This is the India A tour to Kenya.
Well, unfortunately, I was to be a part of that tour to Kenya too. It was a twin tour, if I remember correctly. And I had a leg injury. I had a ligament tear, so I couldn't really be a part of the Kenya tour. But I do remember Dhoni getting a 45 odd in Zimbabwe in a 4-day match. And as things may stand, in fact, we had 3 keepers on that tour. We had Namanoja, we had Dinesh Karthik, who had just about come in, and Mahendra Singh Dhoni also was a part of the side. And it was that game that Dhoni got about 45 odd. And that's when I kind of felt that, okay, maybe there is something about this person. There is a spark. You couldn't really tell that for sure. At times you see a certain player and you know that he has it in him right then and there. I didn't see that in Dhoni then. But on that second leg, when some of these friends of mine, my colleagues, Rohan was there, and Dinesh Karthik and the other guys were there. I remember Dinesh telling me on that tour, even Sriram was there on the tour. I remember Sriram telling me that, Hemang, look out for this kid. This guy is really good. This guy can really hit the ball hard. He's not the conventional type of player. He's not the traditional keeper or the traditional orthodox, technically sound batsman. But boy, he backs himself. He can hit a ball and he's fearless. And I have a feeling that he's going to go long. And even then, I did see him in the nets in the Zimbabwe tour. I had played a match against him in 2002. It was a game, South Zone versus East Zone. Rohan will remember that game fondly. He got about 5 wickets that game. And Dhoni,
you were one of them.
Yeah, I was in the 49th over, but I got 102.
I don't know. 49, 45th, I don't know, but you are one of them.
Yeah. Fair enough. But after 111, let's keep that also in mind. But anyways, let's stick to Dhoni here. And Dhoni did get about 60 odd that game and hit a couple of sixes that game. That was my first interaction with him. But to keep it simple, all these years when I did start playing with him, you never felt that he's going to become the man he's become right now. It's not just his batting, just not his keeping. It's the way he's handled sport. The way he's handled the captaincy, the way he's handled players, the way he's gone about his business. Full marks to him to have come from a small town in Jharkhand to have played and behaved and taken Indian cricket forward the way he's done. Immense respect for Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
Rohan, you wanted to come in there and obviously make a comeback there at what Hemang was telling you?
Yeah, no, a couple of things. Because one, I completely agree with Hemang when he says that, look, there are certain players you look at and you think, oh man, this guy's going to be big in cricket. And you say someone like a Virat Kohli, a Sachin Tendulkar, a KL Rahul. These days you look like say Yashasvi Jaiswal, and you think, okay, if he keeps his feet on the ground, he's going to be a big player in international cricket. Then there are certain other players you look at and you think, okay, listen, if this kid might go on to play for India, but then after that, there's no guarantee as to how he would do. And Hemang's absolutely right. I think Mahendra Singh Dhoni, we all felt that he would get an opportunity to play for India, but no one could have envisaged that he would have gone on to become the phenomena that he is. I don't think anyone with hand on their heart can say, listen, I knew that MS Dhoni would go on to be the most successful captain and probably one of the greatest captains India has had. No one can say that. Go on to win 2 World Cups as a captain, become the batsman that he did. No one can say that. Just going back to that earlier question about, again, I'm going to go back to something that Atul said, the butterfly effect. And going back to that photo that you had of that Kenyan tour, I unfortunately missed the Kenyan tour as well because I was only part of the Zimbabwe tour. Me and Dinesh Karthik, after the Zimbabwe tour, were picked to go play the Champions Trophy and a series in Netherlands against Australia and Pakistan. And because Dinesh Karthik got picked to play for India at that point, MS got the chance to play in the one days in Nairobi. And that's that butterfly effect, because if Dinesh Karthik wasn't picked to play for India, he would have been the number one keeper at that point for India, which he was in sort of the team meetings that you sort of figure that Dinesh Karthik would have been keeping. So luck plays an important part, an important role. Butterfly effect, takes place, and thank God it did, because what a wonderful player he's been, and what a wonderful ambassador for the game he's been.
Well, absolutely, he has been. And Atul, I think you were alluding to this earlier when you said he's come from a small town. He's a Ranchi boy, though he's become India's sweetheart. Now, his rise and his arrival in Indian cricket also coincided with the growth of people from Tier 2 and Tier 3 city towns in Indian cricket. It wasn't just the monopoly of the Mumbai, the Delhi, the Bangalore big boys, but his arrival really opened the floodgates for the small town boys to make their mark on Indian cricket.
Yes, actually, it's a good point. And that's his impact. It's just not the number of runs he scored or the cups he has won or the wickets he's stumped or the catches he's taken. It's that the feeling and the belief he has given to the people up country, in districts, in small towns, small villages, that they can also go on to play for India. I think we say this about Kapil Dev also. He was the first guy to come from Chandigarh, because earlier than Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, you said it right, they were the power centers. But Mahendra Singh Dhoni truly actually changed it, and he got the baton from Saurav Ganguly, and you can see our timeline of Indian cricket becoming what we are today is because of these two gentlemen. But having said that, Dhoni the man. I mean, I don't want to actually burden this debate by talking about his records, his cliches, and all that. But see the guy. This guy who walks away from not playing 100 test matches and retires at 90 test matches when he's the captain of the team in Australia. Actually, at that point, I was a bit upset that I thought that it was letting the team down and you have been captain. But that's Dhoni for you. He just surprises you and he's his own man. And you'll struggle to find him in 6 months. He is a kind of recluse. He just goes away. You can't find him. He doesn't like the adulation, the media, the fan following, and he just lives his own life on his own terms, and that's why I respect about this guy. He's different. He's hatke, and that's why when there were a lot of allegations about these IPL match fixing and all, and everybody was going after him and saying what are the names in that envelope and all that, and I got really upset. They don't know this guy. This guy is not about money at all. He's a different guy. He's a Buddha. So and that is his and his this package makes him an enigma, and that he's going to be a legend forever and ever.
Yeah, I actually want to bring in Hemang into this because it's something you've not heard Dhoni speak about at all. There was the dark phase in CSK's in the CSK era when they were banned for 2 years as a result of match fixing and spot fixing allegations. It's something he's maintained a complete silence about until recently, when in a documentary opened up about these things. At the same time, if I could just tell our viewers, he actually said 2013 was the most difficult phase in my life. I was never as depressed as I was back then. And Hemang, you could see the hurt and the betrayal that he felt by the entire incident. He said, in my life, committing murder is not as bad a sin as, fixing a match has. And he has kept that hurt and pain inside him without really giving us an insight into what that entire chapter, what that entire episode meant for him personally.
Actually, Aarti, that's the only time I've actually seen Mahendra Singh Dhoni emote a little bit. I've actually seen him cry a wee bit when he came back after the ban. You could even see it in the documentary that you're speaking about. I think it was called The Roar of the Lions or something. And it's in the documentary where he also says that I was a bit emotional.
That's right.
Probably the toughest period of my life to have gone through what I did with regards to the allegation of match fixing. And he came back stronger. He was alive to it. He was hungry to come back and prove a point. Well, winning happened in the end eventually, but you could see and you could sense it that when he came back that year, after those 2 years of being in exile, he meant business. He was there to let people know that we did not do this. Whatever has happened probably should not have happened, but it's not something that I was a part of. And for us to have gone through what we did was very tough on us. And to have come out the way he came out, that speaks about the man. For me, winning is something which is a process which happens eventually, but it's how you handle yourself, how you come out of things like this. How do you manage to be able to stay focused, stay in the present? That is Mahendra Singh Dhoni for us. And even in his playing days, all through his career, you've always seen a very diminutive, very quiet personality. But I'll tell you what, he is somebody who's changed our cricket. He is somebody who was, yes, Dada was the one to start it, but MS Dhoni took it to the next level. Yes, we can talk about the number of trophies he's won, this and that, World Cups and all of that, the CSK trophies and all of that. But for me, it's the change that he's brought in the dressing room, the change that he's brought in the players that played along with him, gave them the confidence, made them grow, like Rohit Sharma grew when he was there. Ravi Ashwin grew, Ravindra Jadeja grew, Virat Kohli also grew when he was there. He also managed the senior players very well when they were just about finishing, be it Sachin, be it Saurav. He let Saurav captain in this last test match. How many captains will you see let that happen? I, being the captain, I let Saurav Ganguly take on the captaincy for about 15-20 minutes before the game got over. That tells you about the person. We can speak about his cricket achievements, that can go on. But for me, what stands out with MS Dhoni is the person, the character, and what he brought to the table for the other players.
Well, absolutely, Hemang, that's so well put. Deep Das Gupta, when we talk about cricketers and their performances, we always compare statistics. But the likes of Ganguly, the likes of Dhoni, the impact that they've had on Indian cricket is not something which is really summed up by numbers or summed up by X number of wins or Y number of runs at all.
True. Their impact, it's not tangible. As the others have mentioned, whether it's Rohan or Hemang or Atul, it's not tangible, and it's huge. It's humongous. He came up. His career kind of coincided with India also growing in terms of getting more global, becoming a superpower in itself. So I think a lot of things came together at that point in time, and that belief, as Atul was mentioning about, India is kind of growing. I think those things kind of coincided. Dhoni became the poster boy for that. And as the Hemang was mentioning, his cricketing IQ and his cricketing EQ is second to none. You cannot defeat anyone who's not attached to the end result. Someone like MSD, he was always about process. Every time you would speak to him, or he would be in a press conference or post-match conference, he would only mention about the process, and he actually meant it, because he was not married to the end result. He wasn't worried about whether the team would win or lose. He was only worried about that point in time. what he was, I mean, as we call it, staying in the moment. He was always there. And if somebody who's not worried or not scared of losing cannot be defeated. And he was one of those guys. He was not scared of losing at all, whether it was a game of cricket or whether it was live. I mean, how do you defeat someone? And that is so refreshing. Not too many people are kind of can stay so detached with the end result. And that's the reason he is who he is, because he always stayed kind of detached with the end result. He was only worried about the process, what he was doing at that point in time, and then plan is staying in the present. And that's who he is.
Aarti, if I may just jump in over here, I just have a point to make over here. I think we keep talking about the fact that...
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Indian cricket after 2000, but there was cricket in India before 2000. In the 1980s, we won the World Cup, the Benson and Hedges World Championship. We won a series in England. So, this process of winning started way before 2000. In fact, if you ask me, the team of 2000 underachieved. That era underachieved. If you had to pick an all-time India 11, you'd have about 70 to 80% of players coming from that era of 2000. You'd have Dravid, Tendulkar, Kumble, Zair Khan, but they underachieved. They should have won a lot more, which they didn't. The fact that the 90s in our cricketing history, the 90s, 1990 was so dismissed, where we would win at home, but we would struggle abroad. We were called, lambs abroad. That when we started drawing games abroad, we thought it was a step forward. But we've been doing that in the 70s and 80s. So it's this whole process of winning. And, Indian team, showing us the right way. It started well before 2000. That's all I want to say.
True, but Rohan, the 90s and the early 2000s was such a heartbreak period for all of us, because there were so many times when we'd be so near, and just there were times where we just snatched defeat from the jaws of victory so many times. But also, much like Dhoni, and I think credit also goes to Sourav Ganguly in this phase, because, and you'll never find two leaders with such a contrasting style as perhaps, Sourav and MS would. But both of them have, in their own distinct, unique ways, led Indian cricket in a direction that it had not gone before.
Well, but that is something that we'll also have to remember, that something which Rohan mentioned is that we won the World Cup in 83. No one gave us a chance to win the World Cup in 83. We were not supposed to win that tournament at all. We were not supposed to win the championship at all. Even the one in 85 is where we won the World Series in Australia. So we've had that trend going for a while, and then we lost it in between. And as you rightly mentioned, with the captaincy bit, with Dhoni and with Dada and with Virat now, three different captains, probably Sourav and Virat in the similar mold. Dhoni was the exact opposite, and that's when he got the tagline of being called the Captain Cool. But it's again, at the end of the day, how you get the job done. Sourav knew exactly how to do it. I played under Sourav. I thought he was a great leader. Gave us the confidence. There was things lacking when we went into the dressing room in 2000. We were probably a side which were good in the sense with skills, with technique, but we didn't know how to finish games. We didn't finish games when we should have. There were so many instances that I can talk about where, let's say, for instance, say the 2001 series, the one-day series. We were 2-2 and the last game was at Goa. We should have won that game. We lost that game. ICC Knockout Mini World Cup, the finals against New Zealand, we lost the finals. So those were the things that we kind of had to learn from our losses. Even the TVS Cup in 2003 in Calcutta, I was a part of that side again. And Dada was emphasizing that we will have to fight harder, be a little more in their face, be a little more vocal about ourselves, show that we mean business. We don't have to be good boys. We've always been known as the good boys of cricket, being soft and kind and warm. But you don't need to be that. That was Dada for you. He said, go out there, show the world that we are here to play cricket. We are here to actually get out there and beat you guys. That's where the trend started, with Dada being the aggressive captain. And then Dhoni was the exact opposite. He knew how to manage people. He knew what needed to be done. He led from the front. He gave a lot of confidence to a lot of younger players. He got in a lot of younger players in the side. A lot of them blossomed. Virat, one of them. Rohit Sharma. If not for Rohit Sharma made to open the innings, which Dhoni decided to send him up the order. Prior to that, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Rohit even had a one-day 100. It was the decision of Dhoni to send him up the order, changed a lot of things. And then now we see Rohit, Hitman Sharma and all of that. But it's those little decisions that make a difference. Like Rohan also mentioned earlier about Dinesh Karthik being on that Indian trip to Netherlands. If not for that, would Dhoni have played? Would we have seen Dhoni? There are those things in life that change in a person's career. Some of them get that break, some don't get that break. And some of them, when they get that break, they grab it with both hands. Even Viru did that. When he was asked to open in New Zealand against New Zealand, at Sri Lanka, I was in the side, I was playing that game. It was a last minute call to send Viru up the order. He smashed them. He got a big 100. So it's about capitalizing those chances that you get. Dhoni was brilliant at it, knew how to get that done. And he also knew how to make sure that the players who played along with him kind of were on the same lines. They were all on the same page. And then we got to see a lot more success in our cricket.
Chennai is always known to be a cricket crazy city. They love their cricketers, even if it's the opponents. But still, the kind of affection that they have for MS Dhoni is unparalleled. And I was saying he's perhaps somebody who can win an election hands down in any part of Chennai if he so wishes.
He's the last guy to claim or vie for any public position. He loves his own his own company, his own group of people, and I will be shocked if he ever tries to win any public office. But he's a demigod. He's a hero of the masses, if I may say so. And why? Because of the kind of leader he has been. He's somebody who's always walked the talk. In a team sport, if I see my captain go out there and do it himself, I'll be inspired to do it. And I will say that he's not shying away. Sometimes it happened in our Indian cricket history. Some captains have been not sure of their own ability and their own leadership or their faith in the team, and that shows. And that shows in the results also in those years. But Dhoni was somebody, and I remember an instance. I must tell you, very interesting. He had just become the captain. There was a series with Australia, and I was doing the commentary, and we played a game in Vizag where Yuvraj was padded up and go number 4 or 5. But Dhoni, in a certain stage of the game, said, "Okay, I'll go. You wait." And the same thing, then we went to Guwahati. And Guwahati also, Yuvraj was padded up, India was chasing. And suddenly, Dhoni came out from the dressing room and he's told Yuvraj to wait. And he went on and won the game. And me and Yuvraj were coming back from Guwahati that day back to Delhi on the flight. And Yuvraj was very upset. He says, कि मुझे pad कराता है और ये खुद चले जाता है. Those are the early days. And and he was feeling very let down that he doesn't trust me or he wants all the adulations. But that is Dhoni. He always thought that at this stage, I can do it myself. And that's what he did in 2011. So that is the kind of intuitive captain he's been. And that makes a good leader. And I think that actually shows on the field. And, if my Senapati is like this, I will go out and fight any battle for him.
Rohan, what does the road ahead look like for MS Dhoni? Now, he's somebody who's known to be unpredictable. If anything, his career has shown us. But where would Dhoni fit in Indian cricket, or would he look for a life outside Indian cricket entirely? Would it be as a commentator, as an administrator, or as a coach?
So what would MS do after retirement? We didn't know what MS would do while he was playing. He was that unpredictable. As Atul just mentioned, the batting order would change
exactly,
up and down depending on the needs of the team. It's extremely tough to predict what MS would want to do after retiring. I certainly hope that he stays involved with Indian cricket, because it would be a shame to lose someone like him, from Indian cricket. He's got still so much to offer. So I think in some way or the other, he may be connected with Indian cricket. Maybe not immediately after retirement, but after a break and after he sort of recharged and refreshed his batteries, that's probably when he would want to maybe come back and help Indian cricket in some form.
Aarti, if I could just add a little here.
Mm-hmm. Well, Deep, we lost your audio for a bit. Yes, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, Hemang, go ahead.
All I want to say is that, as Rohan mentioned rightly, that we'll never know with MS Dhoni what he has in mind and what he wants to do in the future. But I have a feeling that I can probably just say one thing that he will be a part of for sure. He will be a part of the CSK brand. He will associate himself with CSK in some ways going forward, be it a mentor. I would imagine he would still play for a couple of years. But after that, I would imagine that he would still be a part of CSK. Mm-hmm. But with anything and everything else, just hold on to social media or the Instagram. That's where you'll get to know. Otherwise, there is no way you can read that person's mind.
We'll keep checking and refreshing our Instagram feeds and our Twitter feeds every now and then to make sure that there is no more breaking news coming in from MS Dhoni at the last minute. But Deep Das Gupta, we lost your audio there for just a bit. In fact, I was playing out this little clip from 2019 when Dhoni walked into the Chepauk Stadium and the crowds just go wild. It sounds like just another international match, except it's just a net session. That's the kind of adulation that the Chennai crowds have for him, that the Chennai audiences have for him. And right now, we can still reconcile ourselves with at least Dhoni is going to wear that yellow jersey, if not anything else. But life without Dhoni in the yellow jersey honestly seems a bit scary.
You know what? I remember growing up, and my favorite was Sunny Sir. When he retired, I thought, that's it. Cricket will stop now, right? But cricket goes on. So we've been very, very lucky as Indian cricketers or Indian cricket fan that we've always had role models and icons every generation. Yes, we will all miss him, but I think the sport moves on, and I'm sure there'll be more people. I mean, we've been very lucky that way. So yes, we'll miss him, but I think as far as the Chennai crowd is concerned, listen, as Hemang said, I think he will be involved with CSK in some form or the other. And I'll tell you this, whatever he chooses to do, I can tell you he's going to be extremely, extremely successful because, there are certain fundamentals that you need to be successful in any field. And he seems to have all of that to be successful. So if he hadn't been a cricketer, I'm sure he would have been a successful whatever he wanted to do. I mean, could be in the corporate field, could be politics, could be territorial army, anything. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do, but I'll tell you what, whatever he chooses to do, he will be extremely successful in that.
Right. Rohan, I know you have to leave. Just one final question to you. Bit of a controversial issue, no less. But yesterday, when the news came that Dhoni is retiring from international cricket, as you can imagine, even our newsroom was very excited. There were so many responses, reactions coming in. There were obviously comparisons on his impact on Indian cricket versus a Virat Kohli versus a Ganguly. And I think somebody in the newsroom said something very interesting about Virat Kohli is a machine. He's a god. He's going to break every record that there is to break. But you can never make a movie on Virat Kohli. And that's not meant as a disrespect to Virat Kohli, but just the kind of personality that MS Dhoni has, it's something that can be captured best on celluloid because it's impossible to imagine otherwise.
Well, look, yeah, I mean, just as everyone's mentioned of MS's personality, his demeanor, the fact that he's so calm, he's cool, seems to be in control of, every situation that's happening. Not just on the field, but even off the field. So look, he has a lot of qualities, and like Deep said, he's got a lot of leadership skills. He's got those skills and qualities to be successful in whichever walk of life he chooses to go forth in. Look, if you ask me, will there be a movie about Virat? I'm pretty sure there will be because he seems to he's an outstanding player. He's going to go down as an all-time great. There's absolutely no doubt about that Virat will go down as an all-time great. He's also had, setbacks in his life and how he's overcome them. I think it would make a great movie.
MS Dhoni has inspired generations and generations of Indian cricket to come. He's been the poster boy for overcoming the odds, a small-town cricketer who managed to chase his dreams and conquer so many millions and millions of Indian hearts. I want to go across to my colleague Neha Kulkarni, who is at Shivaji Park with a bunch of budding, aspiring young cricketers. Neha, how are they reacting to MS Dhoni's retirement and what does Dhoni mean for them?
Aarti, absolutely, we will be getting you the reactions from Shivaji Park in Dadar. This is a ground which has seen many budding cricketers. Cricketers come here and whoever wants to learn cricket play here. In fact, players like Sachin Tendulkar, Ajit Agarkar have also played here, and which is why this is a ground that has remained an icon as far as cricket is concerned. But talking about Mahi specifically, Aarti, if I can tell you that not just for his style and not just for his playing way, but for players here, he has also remained an icon. From him, cricket has been learned. That's what we've been learning since morning that the way he managed captaincy, the way he spoke to players or even bowlers as to how it is to be bowled, and the fact that throughout how he led the team to various victories, everything, all of the small steps have been learnt here, and which is why the fans joining me here are definitely going to remember him as someone who was a very, very big achievement for Indian cricket team. Sir, आप बोल रहे थे कि कैसे उसकी कैप्टन कूल ये जो फिलॉसफी है वो आप हमेशा याद रखेंगे, कुछ और बताइए.
Yeah, definitely. He was a captain cool. When he entered into the international cricket, people used to follow the lifestyle, like his hairstyle, all that. And when end of the day, like when he retired from the international cricket, the world cricket now he's following the way of leading. He was leading from the behind of the keeping, and while captaincy, he used to always discuss with the bowler what batsman is doing and what exactly you have to bowl. He used to take a decision at the moment, not like at the start he used to take like 11 players will play this match, and while playing cricket behind the wicket keeping, he used to always discuss with the bowler what exactly you have to bowl, what you have to do that.
Right.
This is the Dhoni style.
You earlier told me, sir, that you follow Dhoni like on his Facebook, social media, everything. Are you sad that he is retiring early? What do you think?
मैं तो सैड हूँ. उन्होंने रिटायरमेंट लिया, उसको मतलब वर्ल्ड कप उसका लास्ट वर्ल्ड कप तो उसने खेला, लेकिन उसको फिर भी मैं सैड हूँ क्योंकि उसको और खेलना चाहिए था, T20 खेलना चाहिए था, T20 वर्ल्ड कप. लेकिन उसका जो परफॉर्मेंस था कैप्टनसी में, हर चीज़ में, उसको विराट कोहली उसको पूछता था कैप्टनसी में, भाई क्या करना है क्या नहीं करने का, वही सब कुछ को विराट कोहली बताता, मतलब धोनी उसको बताता विराट कोहली को ऐसा करना है. और हर बॉलर के पास जाता था धोनी, महेंद्र सिंह धोनी, मतलब समझाता था, हाँ ऐसा बॉल डाल वैसा डाल, मतलब उसको बाद में जो विकेट कीपिंग में जो पीछे का रहता है फील्डर को सिर्फ बोलता है, भाई ऐसा इधर आएगा बॉल, ध्यान में देख.
जी बिल्कुल सर, आप खुद कोच है, आपने धोनी की कौन सी कैप्टनसी स्किल्स अपनाई?
धोनी का तो एक जो है उसमें पेशेंस है, वही उसको आगे लेके गया है. और अभी तक तो इंडिया में ऐसे कोई कैप्टन हुआ ही नहीं और प्लेयर भी हुआ नहीं जिसने टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप जीता, T20 वर्ल्ड कप जीता, 50-50 का वर्ल्ड कप जीता. तो पूरे दुनिया ने उसको मान लिया है कि ही इज़ अ बेस्ट कैप्टन, और उसके जैसा कोई पेशेंस वाला प्लेयर आज तक हुआ नहीं और होगा भी नहीं.
तो चैलेंजिंग क्वेश्चन ये है कि ये बार IPL CSK के लिए देखी जाएगी या मुंबई इंडियंस के लिए?
CSK के लिए.
CSK और मुंबई इंडियंस दोनों.
बट जीतने की किसकी इच्छा होगी, कौन सी टीम जीते?
ऑब्वियसली हम लोग तो मुंबई इंडियंस को सपोर्ट करेंगे, लेकिन जो अच्छा गेम है धोनी को भी सपोर्ट करेंगे. वो रिटायर हुआ है, इससे उसका कुछ गेम खत्म नहीं हुआ. हर एक फील्डर के लाइफ में ऐसा सिचुएशन आता है कि अब वो मतलब 38 एज के बाद सचिन ने भी रिटायरमेंट लिया, तो उसका टाइम आ गया तो उसने रिटायरमेंट, लेकिन अभी वो अपना परफॉर्मेंस IPL में दिखाएगा.
IPL में सबको अपन ये करते हैं, पसंद करते हैं सब खिलाड़ी को, लेकिन हम लोग मुंबई वाले हैं, इसके लिए मुंबई विन होना चाहिए.
धोनी के लिए स्पेसिफिक जगह रहेगी दिल में.
हाँ, दिल में के लिए जगह रहेगी. उसके जैसा कोई क्रिकेटर हुआ नहीं और होगा भी नहीं.
Absolutely. उसके जैसा कोई क्रिकेटर होगा भी नहीं. आरती, big statement here, and definitely as some players were telling me earlier that Sachin Tendulkar, the great cricketer from Mumbai, has also said that he has had the privilege of working under Dhoni, of being a team player under his captainship. So definitely many memories, and lots of fans here from Mumbai also definitely feeling sad that one of the greatest players is now bitter due to international cricket.
Now we want to see that Dhoni is serving Indian Army.
Well, for Neha, for Indian cricket's sake, I really do hope there are plenty more Dhonis in the wings there. But Deep Das Gupta, I think it's a real tragedy and a real shame that we fans are not going to be able to be in the grounds there watching Dhoni as he wears that yellow jersey and walks out, because the IPL, as we know, is not in India this time. There is going to be no spectators. So it really is a huge loss for Indian cricket fans.
Yes, it is. I mean, obviously, we will all miss him. Watching him live from the stadium itself, but it is what it is. I think it's this whole day or whatever it's about celebrating what MS Dhoni, his career, what he's given to Indian cricket, what each of us have kind of taken something from his career. I think it's a day to celebrate. It's a time to celebrate his contribution as whatever, as a captain, as a wicketkeeper, as a player, as a human being, and yeah, move on. I think, yes, and someone like him, obviously his, whatever we've learned, I think, personally, I think I've learned a lot just following his career, how he manages issues. Because like I said before, I think his skill sets are so good that it goes beyond cricket. You know, his expertise is not just batting and keeping. His expertise or his area of expertise is much beyond the ground. And I think there is a learning lesson for everyone, irrespective of which walk of life or which profession you belong to. And that's what it is. And I tell you what, I won't be surprised to see him, uh, like I said, be in public service or territorial army, in the corporate world. Why not? I mean, yeah, I mean, wherever he goes, he'll be successful.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, Deep Das Gupta, there are a lot of calls to retire the jersey number 7 after MS Dhoni's retirement. But Hemang and Atul, I just want to come to you very quickly. Your top 3 Dhoni moments in his career, as him in your personal interactions with him, whatever it may be. Hemang, let's start off with you.
Well, I mean, on a personal note, I've loved the person itself, the humbleness, that way he handles himself, the temperament that he's shown over the years, the leadership quality, which a lot of times we don't give him enough importance about, because he's not somebody who is loud, he's not somebody who is vociferous. You don't show him, you don't see him emoting a lot. But to me, that was also one of the skills that he had. But talking about his on-the-field achievements, I would think that the 183 that he scored, and also obviously the World Cup final that he got us to the win. And I would also think that something which is close to me, because I was there live. I saw it at the Chepauk the day he got his double hundred against, I think it was Australia. And these 3 probably would be more from his batting point of view. From a leadership point of view, there are many. I still can't forget the incident in the 2010 final at Navi Mumbai versus Mumbai Indians. The field that he had for Kieron Pollard. He had Matthew Hayden there, the tallest fielder on the side. He had him extremely straight right behind the bowler. Pollard being the number 1 batsman, the senior most batsman who was batting well for them, to have had that field was a masterstroke. And we've seen him do that many a times in his career. But these are the things that to me are still in my memory. And I think, you know what, I heard some of them speaking about him, that he should have played on a little longer, he should go on a little more. But as a player, there comes a time when you understand and you say that it's enough. And I'll tell you what, these 5 months at home, being at home because of the COVID-19, he might have thought that, you know what, Dhoni, the player, has had enough. He's been on the field, he's played more and more cricket for the national side, for CSK, and he's done exceedingly well. It's about time I maybe just about tinkered my bike, played with the dogs, played with Ziva, probably sat and had a cup of tea with Sakshi. End of the day, we're all human. Let him live his life. He's given us immense joy, but it's time we let him go.
Well, he really has seemed to have enjoyed the lockdown. I've enjoyed watching those videos actually of him playing with his daughter, playing with his dogs, enjoying his time with his cars and bikes, I think, which is his first love. Atul, what are your top 3 MS Dhoni moments?
Well, I can't just package them in 3 moments, but I must say what I was thinking he can do is at least have few more kids. We should not let those genes go waste. First of all, and having said that, I mean, he's been like the mentor. Arjuna in Mahabharata wouldn't have been half the warrior if he didn't have Sri Krishna as a Sarthi. And I think he has been the Sri Krishna for Virat Kohli, and Virat's impetuous natural self has been tempered, and he has been becoming the final product because of Dhoni. And the way he has handled the spinners, I mean, I think all the credit of development of Indian spinners, especially Kuldeep and Chahal and even Ravindra Jadeja, I mean, they didn't have to put their brains. There was a master standing behind the stump telling them exactly what to do. How often do you see that young players are thrown in the deep end and they don't have any mentor on the field at that point? There are some people helping them. They're all over the place, but he's there. Every ball he was coaching them, and then slowly they come into their own. And along with that, the most humble and the most modest guy. It is impossible in these times to remain so non-commercial in this so much of finance and revenue model and these crores and crores being thrown around. I know a lot of big players, I will not take names, who are still hustling, still trying to make an extra buck in spite of crores. But this guy was a difference, and I think I take my hat off for that to him.
Well, not just him. I think the entire country, all our cricket fans will salute MS Dhoni and his immense contribution to Indian cricket. Deep Das Gupta, final word to you. Your top Dhoni moments, what you'd like to remember him by?
I think the way he retired. I think that 4-minute Instagram video just typifies what Dhoni is, and how he played his game, how his career was. He took an iconic song and made it more memorable. That's what he's done all his life. He's picked up something good and made it better. I think I'll always remember that song for this, and always remember him by that song.
Aarti, if I can just add one thing here, because Deep mentioned about
I think that
the
song just acquires. Yeah, sure.
It clearly epitomizes the man. The man
go ahead,
clearly
Hemang,
has
go
said
ahead.
enough and everything with that song. I've had my few moments. I've had my bits of youth. I've had my bits of success. But in the end, he also clearly says that the journey will go on. There were people before me who played, and then I played the game. And I'm sure there will be someone else who will come forward and play the game. The baton and the journey will go on. We will miss Dhoni, but the game will move on.
That's beautifully said, Hemang. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon to discuss MS Dhoni, the man, the legend. He said, "Main pal to pal ka shayar hu," but he's given us so much more than just a few moments. In fact, it's not just Indian cricket fans itself. The cricketers across the world, his contemporaries, his peers, all of them have paid glowing tribute, which is testimony to the fact that his cricketing brains, his expertise, his game itself has been looked up to around the world. And with that, it's an end of an era. A man whose composure made us feel that, well, all is well. This man has got things under control, even in the worst of situations. Dhoni has not just given us ek pal, do pal, but you've given us a lifetime of memories. The nation is extremely grateful to you for that.